When the Lisa McPherson Trust attended Scientology's annual race through the streets of Clearwater, we were surprised to see that the police were expecting us.
They said that they had just received a call from Scientology that a busload of picketers had just crossed the causeway into Clearwater Beach. And there were 3 of us and a dog in Stacy's little RAV4. So it was just, you know, a Scientology scheme to get the police on high alert. We're here at the Say No to Drugs race, I believe this is called. Now, you must understand when Scientology says say no to drugs, you notice they're not talking about street drugs specifically. What they're talking about is any kind of psychotropic drugs that psychiatrists prescribe and things of that nature. So, you know, while they don't mention any of that in their advertising. Yeah, say no to Scientology! Say no to Scientology! You know, the thing about their whole scheme here is it's a deception. Most of these people don't know this race is sponsored by the Church of Scientology, and they're not talking about street drugs. They're talking about psychotropic drugs as well. So it's just it's a bit of a Scientology scam. Remember that Scientology's Say No to Drugs is all about psychotropic drugs used by psychiatry and Ritalin used on children with ADD. It's not only about street drugs. Don't fall for this trap.
This is Maggie's debut as a picket puppy. When I was a Scientologist, I never took any kind of drug at all. Even for a few years after I got out of Scientology, I still didn't take any medication of any kind, just as a holdover from how terrible a thing it was considered to be when I was in Scientology.
Have a good run.
What's ironic about it is that L. Ron Hubbard himself took a lot of drugs. And in fact, he even had a psychiatric tranquilizer in his blood when he died. I mean, Scientologists wouldn't even believe it if they were told. They would think it was an absolute lie.
Remember, Scientology's Say No to Drugs is all about psychotropic drugs for people in psychiatry, for children using Ritalin. This is what they're opposed to. This is not about street drugs. It's a Scientology front group.
I have a golden just like that.
Just remember that Scientology's Say No to Drugs includes all sorts of psychiatric drugs, psychotropic drugs, Ritalin. Good luck. Keep running hard.
I've been told by someone who was with Hubbard at the time that when he did his research for OT3,
good luck.
He was taking a lot of dexedrine. And dexedrine is a pretty serious kind of speed. When you overdose on speed, one of the symptoms is that you start feeling like bugs are crawling all over you. So I don't know if anybody else has noticed the comparison between bugs crawling all over you and BTs crawling all over you, but it's a possibility that OT3 is just a drug trip from L. Ron Hubbard.
Good luck. Good run. Yes, sir. Keep on going. Good race today, guys. Remember, Scientology's Say No to Drugs is all about psychotropic drugs used by psychiatry, Ritalin to treat children with ADD. Don't be deceived by Scientology. Oh, see, they're coming down the sidewalk now, so you're going to need to stay in this little grass median here for a while because they're going to put walkers on the sidewalk now. No, that was part of the plan. This is just another Scientology deception. Remember, Scientology's Say No to Drugs is about psychotropic drugs used by psychiatry, Ritalin to treat children with ADD. I know, but this is Scientology-sponsored race you're doing. You know, this is the 2-mile walk part here, these people. The finish is over there by the Hilton, but the awards breakfast is over at the Harbor View. So they're going to be shuttling them back over there in buses. So what I suggest is we go back there and scope out a spot and just wait for everybody to come back over there in the buses.
I was actually surprised that they were using pink buses and wondered why they weren't using flag buses.
Well, they've been using a lot of big flag buses too. I've seen this pink bus several times. I think it's just one of a fleet that they might have. I can't imagine why they didn't use all flag buses though. Although that's a little bit more of a clear indication as to who the real race sponsor is, so maybe that's why. You know, Mark, what's really interesting is if you film these flag buses, you'll notice when we were down here for the December protest, all the windows were dark. They've now taken off the dark inner protection, and they just have the Happy Holidays thing on there now. You know, I sent out 218 email messages to running clubs all throughout the Southeast to let them know who was the real sponsor of this race, you know, a couple of months ago, just to put them in the picture. So, you know. But, you know, people should know. I mean, there are a lot of people here who don't know that this is sponsored by Scientology or Dianetics, which is the same thing. You know, people should know. And I think when people do know, they might decide maybe this isn't a race for me. Because a lot of people here in this community, you know, Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete, you know, they know a lot about Scientology, but, you know, they don't necessarily know about all their front groups and, you know, how they operate. And, you know, this is just a pure PR thing for them. People should have the right to get out there and have a good time. We just want people to know that who's sponsoring this event and that this is purely an internal Scientology PR gimmick so they can, you know, send out glossy brochures to everybody in the Church of Scientology. Oh, look how great we are in Clearwater. We're sponsoring these events. And they'll hold this up in the community. You know, we sponsor the Say No to Drugs race. And, you know, I let her know that, you know, these, you know, if you look at their race brochures, I didn't see anything in there about street drugs. I didn't see anything in there about psychotropic drugs. But considering what Scientology's CCHR and things like that are, I'm quite certain that their main thrust of this thing is to say no to psychiatric drugs without telling anybody that's what's behind the race. And, you know, I think that's deceptive. And one of the things which we in the Lisa McPherson Trust are planning to do here in Clearwater is to expose some of the deceptive practices of Scientology, and this is one of them. You know, I would have to say that, that somebody let the air out of that tire.
Even though somebody gave us a flat tire, we all agreed it was a very successful day.
Well, you know, we had a captive audience. Everybody who was in this, participating in this race, had to see what we had to say, had to see who the real sponsor of this race was, the Church of Scientology. And I think a number of people were surprised, and, you know, they'll probably think more carefully, I think, next year about whether they should participate in a Dianetics event.